Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All Guru Shri Prabhupada. Welcome, devotees, to today's Bhagavatam class. Today we continue with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, Verse 7. And the chapter is entitled The First Step to God Realization. We are in the beginning stages of Maharaj Parikshit asking Sukadev Goswami, what should a man do when he has so little time to live? And Sukadev Goswami is he's starting to explain the consciousness or the kind of people who are engrossed in material world and what happens to them and what should transcendentalists do. So we are just getting into the discussion. We're very happy to have His Holiness Candramauli Swami with us. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you and Shiva Prabhupada.
Haribo, Boris Prabhupada. I'm on mute. Oh, no, I'm not on mute. Okay, just give me a minute there, okay?
No problem, Maharaj. Take your time.
Yeah, I won't take too much time.
That's fine, Maharaj.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Prayena Munaya Raja Nirvitam Vidised Siddhartha Nayargunya Staramate Sma Unanukantane Hare Hare. O King Parikshit, mainly the topmost transcendentalists who, above the regulative principles and restrictions, take pleasure in describing the glories of the Lord. The topmost transcendentalist is a liberated soul and is therefore not within the purview of the regulative principles. A neophyte who is intended to be promoted to the spiritual plane is guided by the spiritual master under regulative principles. He may be compared to a patient who is treated by various restrictions under medical jurisdictions. Generally, liberated souls also take pleasure in describing the transcendental activities. As mentioned above, since Narayan, Hari, the personality of Godhead, is beyond the material creation, his form and attributes are not material. The topmost transcendentalists or the liberated souls realize him by advanced experience of transcendental knowledge. And therefore they take pleasure in the discussion of the transcendental qualities of the Lord's pastimes. In the Gita 4:9, Krishna declares that his appearance and activities are all divyam or transcendental. The common man who was under the spell of material energy take it for granted that the Lord is like one of us, and therefore he refuses to accept the transcendental nature of the Lord's form, name, etc. The topmost transcendentalist is not interested in anything material and is taking interest in the matter of the Lord's activities is definite proof that the Lord is not like one of us in the material world. In the Vedic literatures also, it is confirmed that the Supreme Lord is one, but that he is engaged in transcendental pastimes in the company of his unalloyed devotees, and that simultaneously he is present as a supersoul, an expansion of Baladev in the heart of all living entities. Therefore, the highest perfection of transcendental realization is to take pleasure in hearing and describing transcendental qualities of the Lord, and not into merging into his impersonal Brahman existence, for which the impersonalist monists aspire. Real transcendental pleasure is realized in the glorification of the transcendental Lord, and not in the feeling of being situated in his impersonal feature. But there are also others who are not the topmost transcendentalists, but are in lowest status, who do not take pleasure in describing the transcendental activities of the Lord. Rather, they discuss his activities of the Lord formally with the aim of merging into his existence. Gyan Timidandasya Gyanajana Chaksun Militamena. Thus, Sri Guru Namaha Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthana Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya De Satarine Panchakopa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhuve Bachapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Now there's two kinds of men, the swans and the crows. The crows, you see, they're quite active. You don't see so many of them in Western countries, but in England, India, they're all over. Sometimes you see them also here. They gather in groups and they're always making loud noises and looking for garbage or something to eat that is more or less the category of refuge. And then you have the swans. They like to dive deeply into the water and get entangled into the lotus stems. And the swans also have a quality where they can drink milk from a mixture of milk and water. They have this special quality given to them by God that they can extract milk from a combination of milk and water and not drink the water. So this is these two kinds of birds, crows and swans. But the crows, you'll find them in the refuge, and the swans, you'll find them in the nice, clear, beautiful, pristine lakes. And so there's two kinds of people. There's the crow-like persons who chased after transcendental literature on the general marketplace, which is full of activities of the conditioned soul's exploits with illicit sex, intoxication, various types of violence, and also all kinds of imagined programs of entertainment that they create simply by their desire to enjoy something different. So you have these, and then of course the swans, they're always diving deep into that's why it's called the Srimad Bhagavatam is called the Paramahansa Samhita. Hamsa also means swan. Paramahansa means swan-like men. Well, those of the swan-like men, they go for the transcendental nature of the all-eternal, all-good, all-attractive personality of Godhead. And they relish, just like the swans relish, diving deep into the beautiful clear lakes and swimming around in the lotus stems. So in the same way, these transcendentalists, they have no interest in the business of crows chasing after garbage and reading such material that has no real value, that just creates the mind and disturbs the mind. That's all it does. So, two kinds of persons. And therefore, a devotee wants to be swan-like. So they associate with and take up the activities of the swan-like men to hear and chant the glories of the Lord. Satam pasangam mama virya sambido bhivanti hitkarna rasayana kata. That rasayana is sweet, it's nectar, and that kata just inspires the mind and heart, and one becomes more and more attracted in a very natural way towards service to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, who is the all good personality of Godhead, who gives his mercy to everyone, but especially to those who take up hearing and chanting his glories. And they said there's others who also like to hear about the Lord also and speak about the Lord. But their motivation is not glorification of the Lord. Their motivation is to connect with the Lord so they can develop some attachment to his impersonal feature, which is situated everywhere, the Brahma Jyoti. Or they may even be a little bit more advanced, like the yogis. They might try for meditation on the Lord within the heart, the super soul. But both of them have their own personal interests, and therefore they can't really approach the Lord in a real devotional way. All of their approach is simply based on gaining something on the personal level, and therefore the Lord doesn't really give them much credit, nor does he give them much attention either. So, but those who hear and chant the glories of the Lord and engage in devotional service, and the Lord is worshipped in the process of bhakti by Raganuga Bhakti, which is rules and regulations under regulative principles, and also in the higher stages of bhakti by spontaneous attraction in the mood of Vrindavan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come personally to perform the activities of Krishna in Vrindavan in the mood of spontaneous attraction for Krishna. Although he is Krishna himself, he is performing those activities to teach the process of spontaneous attraction to himself in the mood of Sri Vrindavan Dham, which is the goal of the aspiring transcendentalist. Rules and regulations in devotional service is like getting a foothold in the process of devotional service. And one worships the Lord in a mood of awe and reverence. But as one develops in their practice of Krishna consciousness, they start to open up their relationship with the Lord in one of the 4 or 5 mellows, either as an eternal servant in the mood of Vrindavan, or as a friend, a lover, or a parent. So in any one of these really attract Krishna. Lord Chaitanya actually says that, or Krishna actually says, love that is imbued with regulative principles does not attract him, nor does it control him either. But that love that is done in the mood of residence in Vrindavan, Krishna is very much attracted to that and reciprocates. Yayatam mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajami aham. Mama Vartmanu Vartante Manusha Partha Sarvasya. Krishna spoke this verse to Arjuna right after he explained to Arjuna that he had spoken the same science of Bhakti Yoga to the sun god Vivashwan 120 million years before. And now he has come again to speak the same thing, but he emphasizes it. As you approach me, I reward you accordingly. But no one can surreptitiously or automatically or whimsically jump up to the stage of worshiping Krishna in spontaneous love unless they have gone through the process of regulative devotional service and have become mature in that process. Then gradually, through the process of spontaneous devotional service, following in the footsteps of a resident of Vrindavan, worshiping that resident, glorifying that resident, serving that resident in different ways, one starts to move closer and closer to their eternal relationship with Krishna and the Sri Vrindavan. And this is the process that Lord Chaitanya came to teach. He didn't come to teach regulated devotional service. That was already there. came to teach spontaneous devotional service, and he lived it by executing the process of devotional service. The chanting of the holy name Harinam Sankirtan particularly helps one to awaken quickly the process of spontaneous attraction to Krishna. That spontaneous attraction to Krishna manifests initially in the form of his holy name. But as one chants more and more in kirtan and engages in devotional service, one starts to become attracted to Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and ultimately his pastimes, which are ultimately the highest principle of loving devotional service, as exhibited by the residents in Sri Vrindavan Dham. Well, this process of devotional service is very nice, very scientific, very sweet, and one should apply themselves to hear about Krishna more and more. This is the medicine in this age. Enechya Sari Maya Nasi Baralagi Harinama Mahamantra Lao Tumi Magi. So hearing and chanting the holy names of the Lord and his Krishna's qualities, forms, pastimes, entourage, or even glorifying his pure devotees are all on the absolute platform of spontaneous attraction. And one can develop that mood if one practices that mood more and more in their day-to-day life. If we don't practice it, it won't develop. Even if you're qualified to achieve it, that without practicing it, that qualification will not fully manifest. It'll just be indicative of that nature, but it won't become full-blown in the attraction. Therefore, one has to follow this process as given. And if we study the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his dealing with his devotees and his activities in spreading the Harinam Sankirtan everywhere, we get a taste for and an attraction for Krishna in Sri Vrindavan Dham. Well, this is the process of pure devotional service, and as recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is, we are followers of Mahaprabhu. What do we know about Krishna? Only everything we know about Krishna is coming through the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We cannot, we cannot simply jump up to that. We need to qualify ourselves by hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, take part in kirtan, take part in glorification of the Lord, and engage every day in practical devotional service to the Supreme Lord. This is the goal of Krishna consciousness. It is available for everyone who takes up the process accordingly, follows the instructions of their spiritual master, and develops an attraction for hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. Prasang prasangam mamavirya samvido. And that attraction comes by serving great souls. There's a beautiful verse from the Bhagavad Gita. What is that? I'm sorry, from Srimad Bhagavatam. It describes by engaging in the service of great souls, great service is done, and by such service, one awakens their attraction to hear and chant the glories of the Lord. Shushusha Sharadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Shamya Vipa Samyat Seva Vipa Punya Tirtana Sevanat. The verse goes, which leads to Srinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Ridyanto Abhadroni Vidyanoti Suhit Satam Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistaki. These verses spoken by Srila Prabhupada when he first arrived in Boston Harbor in 1965, landing on the shores of America to begin his worldwide movement of Krishna consciousness. He spoke these verses just to give us the emphasis that these verses here from second canto, first canto, second chapter, verses 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 are, they pretty much encapsulate the whole process of pure devotional service. And it's all about hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord and surrendering to the spiritual master's instructions and engaging in practical devotional service. It's very easy. We somehow or other make it difficult because we mix in our devotional service with too many material activities. And then we have no time, and we also get absorbed in our material activities and forget about the glories of the Lord. But if we do that, then we'll be wasting this very golden opportunity to make solution to all problems of life and return to the spiritual world. Material life may be necessary, but it is not the feature of happiness, nor will it give you any full satisfaction. Everything comes from our relationship with Krishna through the process of pure devotional service. Okay, I'll stop there.
Mars, thank you so much for such a wonderful class on really stressing the point of devotional service and Lord Chaitanya's mood, that what he brought to us. Would like to request devotees, if you could please turn on your videos, if possible, wherever you're at, so that we can have each other's association. If you have any questions, please do raise your hand and I will call upon you in the order, or you can put it in the chat and I'll be happy to read it. Did I miss a question? Okay, no, so that was Pranab's. Okay. I'm gonna wait for Marsh to come back. If anyone has a question, please do raise your hand or put in the chat. I do have a question, but I'm gonna wait for Marsh to come back. That way it doesn't get lost. This is a very powerful class, the crows and the swans. It's pretty interesting. Very, very nice. Marge, as you were speaking about spontaneous devotion, the Raganuga Bhakti part, and we've also been told, Marge, that
Close all windows, I think. Go ahead.
sorry, Marge, and we've also been told that the beginning stages of Krishna consciousness is Vaidhi Bhakti, the rules and regulations. But the term spontaneous devotion, Maharaj, can you explain what does it really mean by spontaneous? Does it mean just spontaneous attraction to the Lord, but when it comes to service, it's lackadaisy? Like, because what does it actually really mean to be spontaneous in devotion?
Yeah, it's also spontaneous means a natural attraction for engaging in the activities of devotional service. We do it sometimes simply because it is a requirement, and that is called Vaidhi Bhakti, rules and regulations. It's Prabhupada gives the example. It's like a child when he can't walk, so he's learning how to walk. He's falling down. His parents are kind of guiding him. They're holding him up, and once in a while they let him try, and he falls again. But when he keeps practicing, because the walking propensity is there within the child, it comes out through the practice. If that propensity wasn't in the child, it wouldn't come out. So that spontaneous love for Krishna is there within the soul, but it has to come out in the form of engaging in devotional service. And when one becomes qualified at a certain level, then it manifests in a very natural way. So hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord will help to invoke that natural, spontaneous, attractive. And then when we get to a certain level of practice, where we have mastered the process of devotional service through rules and regulations, it naturally starts to manifest. It comes automatically because one has reached a certain level of maturity in their own bhakti. We can go through the stages: Adao, Srada, Sadhu, Sangha, Bhajana, Kriyam, Anartana, Vritti. Nishta, Ruchi. Ruchi is when Ruchi becomes mature, it comes into Ashakti. Ashakti is really around the time that spontaneous devotional service. Ashakti means fixed attraction for Krishna. Before then, one is tasting the happiness of devotional service in a continuous way. It's not simply a matter of doing one service or not another service. It's natural. One is joyfully engaged in devotional service. They can sweep the floor, they can clean the toilets, and they're still smiling and experience happiness because they understand that through their own experience, it's all for Krishna.
Thank you, Marge. Thank you for really explaining that. Marge, there's a question here in the chat by Vishabhadas Prabhu, and he said, Hare Krishna, dear Gurudev and Vaishnavas, if Gurudev can speak more about Krishna in Vrindavan and his sweet pastimes and interaction with his pure devotees.
Read the Srimad Bhagavatam there. We can talk about Krishna's pastimes, yeah, but right now we're in a discussion of questions and answers based on that. But if you come to some of my classes, you can hear that. I don't think this is the time to break into Krishna's pastimes right now because there's devotees that want to ask questions.
Thank you, Maharaj. Balakrishna Prabhu, it's all yours.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances to Prabhupada and all gathered Vaishnavas. Prabhupada, Maharaj, a couple of days ago, you talked about something that was super, super helpful. I was not in class, but I always catch up. I thank Krishna for the YouTube live recordings. Thank you for doing that. That was amazing. So the one thing that you said is that a devotee can get some bliss. As sadhana bhakta, I'm a new neophyte, new devotee. I've only been doing this for less than a year. Sadhana bhakta can get some bliss, but that does not mean that they are advanced. Advancement comes from not expecting some satisfaction from the material world. I'm going to put that on a plaque somewhere, Maharaj, because before that, I would be doing some kirtan or something, I'll feel some bliss, and immediately I felt like the North American devotee of the year. And then I would feel so happy, and I felt like I've achieved something. And you put that into such great context. So my question here is, I try to make as much of my 24 hours transcendental as possible. With work and everything is difficult. So it's easy to be transcendental when you're doing japa or when you're reading scriptures or in classes like this in Bhakti Vriksha, everything. How about solo kirtan, Maharaj? When I have my headphones on, I'm listening to some kind of kirtan. Is that transcendental, Maharaj?
Yeah, that's all. Anything that's connected with Krishna or devotional service is of the nature of transcendence because it's not part of this material world. Transcendence means above the three modes. And therefore, anything spiritual has that element of being above the three modes of material nature. How we accept it and how we process it through the acceptance will determine how much we get from it. The more we are open to it, the more the heart is open and receptive, the more we get the knowledge and the happiness that comes from these activities, even if it's seemingly quite ordinary. Yeah. So yeah, it's there. So whatever you do in devotional service is connected with the process itself. In other words, sweeping the floor, cleaning the toilets, washing the pots, chanting the holy name, dressing the deities. It's all transcendental.
Wonderful. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Nice question. Thank you, Prabhu.
Nice
Any question? I'm sorry, Marge, go ahead.
He's the North American devotee of the year, you know. Good to see you.
That was quickly disabused of the notion, Maharaj. Pretty soon I fell down very far. So
Then you became second, right, instead of first.
No, very, very fallen, Maharaj.
Okay.
Thank you. Any questions from devotees? March, when you were mentioning just now that spontaneous devotion, Raganuga Bhakti normally starts around the stage of Ashakti. So, Marge, sometimes I come into this, I cross situations where devotees behave or think they're at that level, but it doesn't show in their behavior or in their actions. Is that an offense, Maharaj?
Well, if you're on that level, then you'll exhibit the qualities of that level. How can one indicate whether to understand if they're on that level? It's by exhibiting the characteristics. Each of the levels of bhakti is indicated by certain qualifications or qualities. That means activities, speech, like that. So yeah, when you describe a particular stage, you understand the stage through the qualities of the stage. How else will you understand it? So if people are acting, they're on that stage, but are not exhibiting the qualities, in one sense, you could say they're not on that stage. But then you have the avaduta. So the avaduta is another person who doesn't fit into any categories. Like Lord Nityananda is sometimes called the avaduta. And he'll be walking along with Lord Chaitanya, and he'll see a crocodile in the river, and he'll jump in and chase after the crocodile. So although he's Lord Nityananda on the highest stage of bhakti, still he's acting like something else. You can't imitate that. Tejo Samarajo Sire. One cannot imitate those who are on the high transcendental platform. So they may also act ordinary for two reasons. One is that just like you see sometimes a very rich man, he'll wear a t-shirt and jeans. Although he can dress up in the best of all clothes, he likes to wear t-shirts and jeans. Prabhupada said sometimes a rich man, he can get any of the nicest foodstuffs, but he likes to eat some puffed rice every once in a while. Ordinary puffed rice. So sometimes great souls who are on such a platform don't exhibit these qualities, especially in relationships to others who don't understand. So they may act ordinary or less than what their stage is. But in their heart, they're there, you know. In their mind, they're there.
And March, at that level, another nivritti, I mean, we still go through that stage of dealing with our anarthas, right? Or no? Or does it stop?
On what stage?
At the Raganuga stage, like when we get to that Ashakti level, I mean, anartha, because we live in the material world, we are so bombarded. So does that mean that we still continue trying to weed out all our anarthas, Maharaj?
All of them, if you're on that stage, all your anarthas are gone. But the only difficulty is you can also commit offenses, which are also anarthas. And that will also cause one to fall or slip from that stage. That's mentioned by Bhakti Vinod Thakur, that one can commit offenses all the way up to the level of prema.
Wow, that's pretty deep, Maharaj.
Only when you see Krishna face to face, then there's no question of any more offenses. Jai and Vijay, they committed an offense to the four Kumaras. They were on the gates of Vaikuntha.
And Maharaj, is it because Jai Vijay forgot their position
Mm,
that they made that offense? I mean, they were the guards of Lord Vishnu.
They thought they were acting properly by preventing these persons. They didn't recognize these persons as being who they were. They came in the form of 4 young boys, 4 years old. And they thought them, who are you to think you could go in and just see, the Supreme Lord like that? So apparently you might say they were doing their duty, but they didn't know who those persons were. It's like, it's like if the president is coming along and he goes through the red light with all his cars, he doesn't get a ticket. Because he's the president.
He gets away with murder.
Almost.
Almost. Yes, Marge. Thank you, Marge. Sridevi, it's all yours.
Thank you, Anusya. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is a very interesting and very important topic of trying to reach Raganuga Bhakti, because this is where real devotional service begins. I was thinking also, Guru Maharaj, about you just now said that until we see Krishna face to face, the impurities continue to be there, and one can
No, there's no impurities, but you can commit an offense.
Oh, so the anarthas are gone at which stage?
Anarthas are gone on the stage of ruchi pretty much, but the tendency to commit offense may also remain.
Oh, okay. So anartha nivritti is complete at ruchi. Is that correct?
Some say ashakti and some say the higher stages of ruchi. That's questionable.
Okay. But the tendency to commit offenses is there all the way, even up to the stages of prem.
Not the tendency, but the possibility. That's a better word.
Oh, okay. But only when we see Krishna face to face, then completely pure.
Yeah, well, then there's no chance of offenses.
Okay. So seeing Krishna face to face is actually success in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So I'm
So-
sorry, go ahead, Marge. Go
so
ahead,
I-
Sridevi.
Yeah.
I was going to ask her something else, but I changed my mind. I'll talk to you later.
I'm sorry?
Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
Marge, that was a nice question, Sridevi. Marge, so which means that we, when one comes to the stage of where the anathas are almost gone or gone at the stage of ruchi or ashakti, but the possibility to make offenses is there, which means we have to be, that one has to be very spiritually strong to be aware of offenses, Marge. Like they have to be always on guard.
You have examples just like, what's his name? This one great, powerful preacher. What was his name? Rupa Kaviraj. So he would go around giving lectures, and thousands of people would come. And when they would listen to his lectures, they were overwhelmed. Someone's at the door. And but one time, one very advanced Mataji came to his dissertation. She sat down, but her qualification or quality is she was constantly chanting the holy name. She was absorbed in chanting. So she's sitting in the very back part, listening to his lectures. She's chanting at the same time. He notices that, and he takes issue with that, and calls her out and saying, "Oh, you are so advanced. You can, Are you actually listening to my lecture, or are you actually chanting the holy name? And he was somewhat offensive in the way he presented that. He became somewhat a little bit proud, and because he became proud, he found some fault with her. And that caused him to fall down from his position. He was on the platform of Baba. That's how high he was. So yeah, there's an example. So pride can enter into the heart of a very advanced devotee, thinking themselves advanced, or acting like they are more advanced than others. Person who's actually advanced never thinks himself advanced.
Wow. Just takes one situation, Marsh, to bring us down. It just takes one.
Yeah, you can get back up again, but
Thank God.
you don't want to go down. That's the problem.
No.
Because you might be down for a long time.
So true, Marge. Yes. Marge, that's a nice question here by Vishabhadas. He says, Gurudev, what does it mean to be spiritually strong?
As Prabhupada would say, I'm not moved by the rascal scientists.
Marge, can you elaborate on that, Marge, please?
Yeah, everybody believes what the scientists say, Prabhupada. He knows that they're all rascals and they're all cheaters. But they asked Prabhupada, what is your what is your advancement? I'm not moved by these rascal scientists who are always dictating all kinds of things to destroy the population. For giving so many lies. Prabhupada, to be spiritually strong means to have Yasya Devi Prada Bhaktir Yata Devi Tata Guru Tasyaita Kartita Yata Prakasanatan Mahatmanaha. To have complete faith in the words of Krishna and Guru. Complete faith. Not marginal faith or occasional faith or once in a while faith or 99% faith, 100% faith.
Wow. Marge, I'm going to, as Vishal Prabhu, I hope that helped. I know you're driving. You just, if you can nod your head, that would help. So I know that it helped. It did. Thank you, Prabhu. Sakshi, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Maharaj, when you were saying one can fall down. So my question is, does that depends on the intensity of the offense? Like for an example, if someone is on the level of bhav, and if that person is too much offensive, so he'll go, I mean, he falls all the way down to anarth nivritti, or I'm not able to understand.
Yeah, you can't really predict that, how far they fall. But they lose their taste in Krishna consciousness. As soon as you lose your taste, then that's pretty much, that's an indication that you're committed some offenses when you lose your taste in Krishna consciousness. And Krishna consciousness is the sweet taste. So if you lose your taste, you have to get it back somehow.
That did help, Sakshi. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Don't
Thank
lose
you.
your taste.
Very nice. Any questions from devotees? Please do raise your hand, put in the chat. I'll be happy to read and call upon you. Marge, so
Let me say one thing before you.
please, Marge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pressured for time, so I have about 5 minutes left, so. Okay.
Got it, Marge. So are there any questions from devotees? Marge has 5 minutes. Yes, Kanchanana, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, my obeisances, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to you, Maharaj. Just a quick question on Bharat Maharaj. Did he have any anartha, like when he got attached to the deer? Because he was on the platform of Bhava. So was it like any anartha there, or was it just he got attached to the deer?
That's an interesting statement. It doesn't indicate he had anarthas. He says that a devotee is soft-hearted by nature. He was exhibiting his soft-hearted, but in a way that it wasn't beneficial. And the problem with Bharat Maharaj is that two things. I mean, he could have took care of that deer very nicely, but he did it at the expense of his sadhana. He stopped his spiritual activities and gave 100% time to that little baby deer. You might say if he didn't stop his spiritual activities and still took care of the deer, he wouldn't have, lost that opportunity to go back to Godhead. Or you might also say because he was alone in the forest, he had no association. There was no one there to indicate that he was drifting away from his practice of Krishna consciousness. But his soft-heartedness led him to become overwhelmed with using all of his time to take care of that deer, which was a baby and didn't have a mother. So he was doing, yeah.
Okay. I guess
then you have Sridhar Swami. Sridhar Swami was he before he became Sridhar Swami, he was married, and his wife was pregnant, and he was planning to leave home and take sannyas as soon as the baby was born. But when the baby was born, the mother died at childbirth, and now the baby didn't have any care. And he was thinking, what am I going to do now? I have this baby to take care of. And then he saw something. He saw this lizard, a little tiny baby lizard. And then all of a sudden, a fly came near the lizard, and the lizard was able to eat the fly. And then he understood, yes, Krishna's take care. So then he left. Krishna will take care of all living entities. Even that little baby, he left. So they have two opposite examples there.
Thank you, Marge. It's different for everyone.
It depends on levels of realization.
Yeah.
Krishna says, I am the seed-giving father of all living entities.
And when you say levels of realization, is it also, Marge, that different, like a different time in someone's life, it's different? Because if Sridhar Swami, if he could have seen it in another way, which is I could look after this child Krishna consciously and bring it up, or he saw it with the way he saw it, which was I can renounce the child and be Krishna conscious. So I guess
he was already fixed on renunciation. He was about to execute that. So he felt that, Krishna will take care.
And I guess when Arjuna sorry, what?
I think the history is Krishna did take care, and the child did get care.
Wow.
Although there was no mother and father.
Okay. I guess with Arjun, it's like he wanted to renounce, but he wasn't really ready for renunciation. So Krishna told him to carry on doing the fighting, and then later on, when when Arjun remembered the instructions in the Kurukshetra, when it was time for him to retire, he retired to the forest with the Pandavas.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was eventually how everything played out, but his following the instructions of Krishna was the ultimate principle of success.
Mm. And
He-
Bharat Maharaj didn't have anyone like to tell him anything when he got attached. And he, like when he displayed his soft-heartedness, he didn't have anyone, whereas Arjun had Krishna when he was being soft-hearted and
Yeah, that would have been an advantage, but the fact that he gave up his sadhana to take care of the deer, the question, what was that anartha? Was it an anartha? Prabhupada said it was just the soft-heartedness of a devotee. Devotee's soft-hearted. Doesn't want to see any living entity suffer. He saw no one that was around to take care of that deer that was out without a mother. Sonal.
Please
Okay.
accept my obeisances. Yes, thank you very much. Will you have time for a quick question?
Well, I'll do my best.
Okay, so when we are talking about these anarthas and falling down, I think one thing which come across is in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is pastime of Daksha and Shiva. So the Daksha, in his second lifetime also, he had that tiny tendency to offend, and he committed second offense during his second lifetime as well. So is it something like that even after practicing and purifying yourself, if you have that tiny bit of tendency, you can still commit an offense again?
You read the prayers of Daksha to Krishna, they're so beautiful. Did you read those prayers?
Yes, yes, Maharaj, I'm doing a course, so I'm free. I've read that, that's why.
It's really amazing prayers. And you think, how could he ever committed any offense? But he did, because he saw his service being interrupted by Narada. But Narada understood there was a higher principle involved. Daksha didn't see that.
So if things like this happen, we just have to accept it as God's will, I guess.
Depends what it is and what the situation is.
Okay.
In some cases we accept it. In some cases we have to see if what we can do to make a difference or not. Just like I'll give you an example was when the demons and the demigods were fighting, Maya Donovan had created this elixir of immortality. It was a lake, small little pond actually. And anytime the demons were killed, they would throw the demon into the pond and he'd come back fully alive and with more energy before and get engaged in the fight. The demigods were getting frustrated. They were killing the demons, but they were just coming back. So finally, who was it? I think it was Indra. Yeah, Indra went to Brahma and said, "This is the situation." And Brahma said, "All right." So Brahma and Shiva incarnated as a calf and a cow. And they came and they started to drink that elixir, that nectar. And when Mayadanava saw that, he understood this is the will of the Lord. He couldn't do anything. And then Prabhupada says, you have your plan, I have my plan, but Krishna's plan is what is the plan that we follow. So if you want to be successful in Krishna consciousness, find out Krishna's plan.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I got this kind of tight schedule, which
No problem, Marge. Thank you so much for tolerating us. I'm so sorry that I cannot ask the other two questions. Manas Prabhu and Vishal Prabhu, please forgive me. And we thank all the devotees for joining us. Vanchakapati Vyascha, Kripasanda Bevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhya, Vaishnavebhya Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Candramauli Swami ki jai.
You save those questions for tomorrow.
I was just gonna actually copy paste and share it with whoever is hosting tomorrow, and then we will take care of that, Maharaj.
We want to answer all the questions, so tomorrow we'll be here.
Sure, Maharaj. I'll make a note of those questions, Maharaj.
Thank you very much for today. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Prabhupada
Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Hare Krishna devotees.
all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai
Thank
Hari
you,
Hari
Guru
Bol.
Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru
Yeah,
Maharaj.
Mataji,
Hare
please share it.
Krishna.
Please share
Thank
with
you
me,
very
Mataji,
much.
those
Yes,
questions.
how Sunny the questions, Srimati.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sri
Thank
Devi,
you, Mataji.
Sri Devi, you going swimming yet? As soon as you go swimming, all your health will come back. I'm serious.
Sridevi, you're on mute.
Take it.
Sridevi, you're on mute.
Sorry, I said I'm scared to go alone, Gurudev. After what you wrote to me, please don't drown. I think it's wise to go with someone.
We'll just go in up to your waist or something, you know.
Okay. All right.
If you go swimming, it's very healthy. And dipping into the cold water really it generates the whole immune system. There's this thing now that's out, it's called the cold plunge.
Oh,
And people are going for it now. They're jumping into cold water and their health is coming back.
oh, okay.
The whole thing now about it. And it's a fact.
Okay. I guess I can try that then.
And
I'm
if you
so
can't
sick
do
and
that,
tired of being sick and
can't
tired.
do- if you can't do that, don't take hot showers, take cold showers.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hot showers make the body weak and very susceptible to sickness. Cold showers will give you strength and energy and vitality.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You know, that's what I do on the side. Okay, best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Maharaj.
It's hot out, Maharaj. Please take care. It's very hot.
We got the cold plunge. Don't worry. Sometimes we call it chill out, right?
Chill out.
Mostly, I'm just missing some good, invigorating association, Gurudev. It's very nice to have lively devotees who are, speaking Krishna Katha or really enlivening us with their chanting, something like that.
Yeah, that's our process.
I have to beg people even to sing in the class, it's like, come alive, please. Like that.
You know, just carry some cold water with you.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I like that. I think I'll do the same thing too in my classes. Swaha, swaha, wake them up. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Haribol.
Haribol devotees, Hari Haribol.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Anasuya, do you have a few minutes after the class is over for me to talk with you real quick?
Yes. You can call me, Mataji. No problem, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you. Haribol. Hare Krishna.